In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. It's a sad reality, but we live in a world characterized by an endless spate of tragedies, where news of death and carnage has become rather desensitizing. But I want to focus on a recent atrocity which should provoke our fiercest condemnation. And no, this act of brutality didn't take place in Iraq nor in Syria, but in Egypt. On Sunday, December 11, over 25 people were killed and another 49 injured when a suicide bomber detonated an explosive belt at St. Mark's Cathedral in Cairo. Daesh later claimed responsibility for the attack, vowing to, quote, continue the war on apostates. Now, we as Shia Muslims are all too familiar with such senseless and cowardly attacks. Not a week goes by without a similarly vicious act of violence being perpetrated against us. So one might ask, why express solidarity with Christians instead of our own tragedies? Well, there are two reasons for that. The first is because we're taught by our faith, and specifically by Imam Ali, the Prophet's successor, to stand with the oppressed no matter who they are and what their religion is. Theological differences, important as they are, do not take away from the fact that Christians are often persecuted in Arab countries. The fact that we share a common enemy is further proof that sympathizing with one another is the first step in alleviating our common miseries. The second reason is somewhat less obvious. Our holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his progeny married a woman named Maria, daughter of Simon. And as you might be able to tell from the name, she was a Coptic Christian convert. She was gifted by the king of Alexandria, but was later freed from bondage by the Prophet and agreed to become his wife. Now it appears that Maria was intended to be more than just a wife. She was destined to be a bridge connecting Islam with Christendom. In fact, the Prophet loved Maria so much that he is quoted to have said, "Look after the Christians, for they have the right of kinship as well as protection." Now the word kinship obviously refers to Maria's marriage to the messenger, thus creating a familial bond which was sealed by her bearing of the Prophet's only son. Named after the common ancestor of Moses, Jesus, as well as Muhammad, that son was named Ibrahim, the biblical patriarch of monotheism, Abraham. Now perhaps due to the immense love the Prophet displayed toward Maria, jealousies were provoked and enmities aroused. Other wives of the Prophet, particularly those who were older and barren, despised her out of sheer envy. They even accused her of adultery, a charge which deeply upset the Prophet and invoked divine revelation. Known as the story of Ifk, or the concocted lie, the hypocrites attempted to distance the Prophet from Maria, but were slapped with an eternal godly rebuke. Several verses of the Quran were sent exonerating Maria of the malicious accusation. Now what this revealed was a deep-seated hatred of Maria, which continues to manifest itself in the persecution of Christians in spite of prophetic instructions to the contrary. We, the Shia, on the other hand, see Christians as blood relatives. We see them as reminders of Maria, a woman of nobility, loyalty, and devotion. Today, we also see Christians as allies in the fight against extremism and bigotry. ISIS and other Wahhabi terrorists who attack you are following in the footsteps of the same hypocrites who hurt the Prophet and his family. They hate you because you remind them of Maria, and they hate us because we remind them of Fatima. The common theme here is the terrorists hate the Prophet and his family. But worry not, my friends. Falsehood may build a state and an army, perhaps even an empire, but the truth will prevail. We shall prevail. And on that note, I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a blessed, joyous, and happy New Year.